It is 36 days till the man burns, and today we're talking about choosing your camping spot. So an unofficial map of Black Rock City has been released thanks to the lovely Damasika. So I will link that in the description box below, but it shows you lots of the kind of locations of things in the city. But it's like a growing map, so theme camps can submit where they are and then they get added to the map, so it will get more filled in as time goes on. So it is worth checking back on the map, just before you go, so you can get kind of a really good view of what is going on in the city and where everything is. So really the most important thing is figuring out exactly what you are looking for or what you need from your camp location. So if you have kids and you're not camping with Kidsville, you probably want to camp somewhere near to Kidsville because there's lots of kid-focused activities there, so it's going to be a fun place to be able to take your kids a lot. If you have any medical problems that could be a concern for you, then you might want to be camped somewhere near to like the medical camps and emergency services. If you just want to spend the whole week partying, you're probably going to want to be near to the sound camps so that you can get to all those parties nice and quickly. So kind of have a think about your wants, your needs, what you're really looking for. Because, the city's huge. You don't want to end up on the opposite side from the camps that you're really enjoying and you really want to spend a lot of time in because it's going to take you so long to be going back and forwards all the time. Okay, so first up, Portaloos and the Portaloo trucks. Not many people want to be that near to the Portaloos. You definitely don't want to be downwind of them. You do not want the smell from the Portaloos to just be wafting into your camp all the time. And if you end up too close to them, you'll just be assaulted by the sound of Portaloo doors slamming, which, that gets old really, really fast. And then, of course, there are the Portaloo trucks that come and clean out the Portaloos, which, if they happen to be coming while you're trying to sleep, that's not going to be a whole lot of fun either. But if you are close enough to hear the trucks coming, then you will know when the Portaloos near you have been cleaned out, and so, you can run down there and get to use a nice, clean, fresh Portaloo. But if you have something like irritable bowel syndrome or just tiny bladder syndrome, something where being next to the toilets is going to be really convenient for you, then, you might want to kind of put up with those things just for the convenience of having the Portaloos so close to your camp. Sound camps are the camps that a lot of people try and avoid. They are usually located at 10 and 2, so they're on like the very edges of the city. And those are the camps that have the largest sound systems. So they are the ones that are going to be able to generate the most noise. There is a rule that the sound systems are pointed out towards the player so that they're not, blasting sound into the city. But, obviously if you are camped directly next to 10 and 2, it's going to be quite loud. But like I said, if you really love to party, that's, the thing you want to be doing while you're there, then it might not be a problem for you to be next to the sound camps. It might be great. You can wake up and go straight to the parties. Your alarm clock is the sound camp. But obviously if you are looking for somewhere a bit quieter, you probably don't want to be near 10 and 2. And bear in mind that even though they have the largest sound systems, that doesn't mean that the rest of the city is going to be quiet. Many of the other theme camps also have parties and have nighttime events with loud music and things. So even though it's not going to be as loud as the sound camps, you could still end up next to a camp that is pretty loud. So if you are trying to avoid, a lot of noise and stuff, then I'd advise you be further back in the city and, try and kind of distance yourself away from the theme camp so that you're not getting that noise when you are hanging out in your own camp. When you look at the map, you'll notice that it's it has radial streets and straight streets. And then it's divided up into blocks. And so with each block, you can either set your camp up so that you are camped on the street, so you're facing the street, or in the center of that block. So you're in the middle and you have camps surrounding you. If you go for a street facing spot, you're going to get to watch the world go by. There's going to be a lot more traffic kind of going past your camp and potentially past your tents. There's going to be a lot more opportunity to interact with people that are going by. Whereas if you choose to be inside the middle of a block, then obviously not that many people are going to be walking past your tent. You're not going to be able to kind of interact with people as they're going by. So if you are looking for a bit more privacy, then you might want to go for one of these inner block locations. If you struggle with something like anxiety, an inner block spot, it might be a good choice for you. Because then when you are in your camp, even though you have more neighbors surrounding you, you're not going to have this traffic going past you. And so you'll be able to kind of feel a bit protected from everything that's going on if you do feel overwhelmed. Also, if you go for inner block, then you kind of get some wind protection from the camps around you, and, at certain times of the day, their shade structures might shade your camp as well. There's, pros and cons to both sides. One thing to bear in mind if you are going to go for inner block is if you are planning to leave early, then it's going to be very difficult for you to actually do that because you are surrounded by neighbours. You're going to have to rely on one of your neighbours being nice enough to like move all of their gear so that you can get out. So with the radial streets and the straight streets, these straight ones tend to get more traffic. You know, most people that are coming out of their camps and heading out somewhere, they are heading to the centre because that's where the action is. And even if people are planning to like head around, most people will head up towards the centre and then walk around. So if you like to watch the world go by, you want to be chatting to all of these people that are walking past, then being on a straight street is probably going to be better. If you want a little more privacy, a bit less foot traffic, then being on a radial would be a better choice. Likewise with like the outer circles and inner circles, like the further back you go in the city, the less kind of foot traffic, the less noise, the less kind of things going on. Because, you know, it's like Esplanade, all that centre area where the theme camps are, that's where a lot of people are heading, that's where a lot of people are going for their adventures. If you're way at the back where there's like no theme camps or anything, there's not going to be nearly as many people just like wandering around at the back of the city where there's really not that much action going on. With the very, very back, the very outside like ring of the city, there is slightly more traffic there because I guess people are just like attracted to the edges of things. So if you're really looking for quiet, not very trafficked areas, you know, try and be far back in the city, but not right on that outer edge. And obviously if you want to be like in the heart of the action, get as close up to the front as you can, get right up next to those theme camps. If you look at the map this year, you'll see that the theme camp placements, they're like up at the front, and then they kind of come out in triangles. So if you are looking for that quiet spot, try and be on something between the triangles where the theme camps come out. Try and put as much distance between you and the theme camps as you can, and hopefully it will be quiet for you if that's what you're looking for. One thing to bear in mind is that not every theme camp registers and gets placement. So you could find that, you know, a unregistered theme camp will spring up somewhere nearby you that is doing something. There is no guarantee that just because you are outside of the theme camp area that you are not going to end up next to some kind of theme camp or a noisy camp or anything like that. Theme camps are another great way to kind of choose your location as well. Like I said with Kidsville, you know, if you've got kids, you might want to be near Kidsville. And that applies to like anything. If you are super into yoga and you just want to spend a load of time doing yoga, you know, maybe try and be near a camp that is doing lots of yoga stuff. If you're really into karaoke, try and be near a camp that is offering karaoke stuff. You know, whatever it is that you love doing and you feel like you're going to spend a lot of time doing, try and camp somewhere near to those kind of things. If you love to have morning coffee and a chat, you know, maybe try and be next to a theme camp that's offering morning coffee. You know, there's a theme camp for everyone. It is worth checking out the list of theme camps that are coming. I will link it in the description box below. And, you know, just see if there's any that take your fancy, see if there's any that you would really like to be kind of camped near so that you can get to them nice and quick. And even though on the list it doesn't give you like the placement of those camps, often they will announce their placement themselves. So you could always Google it and see if they have announced their placement. Or you can look on the unofficial map, maybe they've registered on there and you'll be able to find out where exactly they're going to be. Neighbours are another super important consideration when you're choosing your camping spot. And, you know, obviously, unfortunately, you can't really choose your neighbours until you get there. But it is considered good etiquette to chat to your neighbours before you start setting up. And it's a great time to kind of find out about the area you're planning to set up in. You know, if you are looking for a quiet area that is quiet at night but lots going on in the day, then, you know, you can ask your neighbours about that. Obviously on the first day it's much harder because no one really knows. But, you know, if you're not coming on the first day, then you can get a bit more information about the area you're planning to camp in. And, you know, you can kind of get the scoop on the other neighbours, see if there's any neighbours that you maybe wouldn't want to be next to. Like, you know, you might not want to be next to kids or families or something because maybe you're planning to like drink and smoke and party and curse. And having a family camp next to you is just, it's not going to be ideal. Or maybe you're a family and you don't want to be next to a camp that's drinking and partying and smoking and cursing. So it's definitely worth talking to your neighbours before you start setting up. Because if you set up and discover that your neighbours are just like, they're not your kind of people, they're not who you want to be camped near, then it is a pain to have to tear down and move your camp. When you turn up, you also want to be a bit careful about reserved areas. So theme camps have like reserved areas and they're usually marked with like blue flags. But sometimes the area will be like so huge that you won't notice the blue flags. So if that happens, you feel like maybe you're in a reserved spot, you're not quite sure, try and find some neighbours or someone around that you can ask, have a wander around, make sure that you're not like in a flagged off area. Because again, if you end up camping in a reserved area, when that theme camp turns up, you're going to have to move your camp again, which is going to be a pain. RVs have got a pretty bad reputation at Burning Man. I often think it's very unjustified because it really is down to like a few bad apples, and these bad apples you do not want to park next to. They're the people that are running their generators in the middle of the night just at really inappropriate times. They're shooting exhaust fumes into other people's camps. They probably spend a lot of their time either in their RV or out doing things. So there's not much opportunity to kind of get to know them or have like nice friendly neighbours. Because that's another thing at Burning Man, you often make friends with your neighbours. And that's like a really nice part of the whole experience, is having neighbours that you like chat to and you make friends with. So unfortunately there's no real way to know if the people in the RVs are like bad apples or good eggs. So you have to kind of make a judgment call. The main thing that I would say to look out for is if you see like a big group of RVs together and there doesn't seem to be any outside infrastructure, there's no like shade structure, there's no tents, then chances are they are either going to be out doing stuff or they're going to be in their RVs because they don't have anywhere to sit outside. So you're not going to get that much kind of interaction from them probably. But like I say, you have to kind of make a judgment call. You really don't know if your neighbours are going to turn out to be a nightmare until you've camped next to them. And it's the same with RVs. You don't really know if they are going to be good neighbours or bad neighbours until you are camped next to them. Another important thing is your escape route. I mentioned earlier with the like camping in the inner block, if you're there, it's more difficult to leave if you want to leave. But if you or one of your campmates has anything specifically that could make you need to leave early, then make sure you pick a spot where you are going to be able to leave if you do need to leave. Especially if it's anything medical related, where if you need to leave, you're going to need to leave fast and you aren't going to have time to like wait around for your neighbours to turn up so that they can move all of their stuff so that you can get out. If you are in that position where you might need to leave fast, make sure that you are in a spot where you can do that. If you're looking for like the ultimate quiet, you don't want to be in the hustle bustle of the city, you don't want to be near to the action. You want your camping space to be like your serene little home away from home, so that you can go and join in with the action when you want to, but when you don't want to, you have somewhere where you can really kind of be outside of the city and away from it. Then walk-in camping could be a great option. Not that many people do the walk-in camping, because it's walk-in, so you need to carry all of your gear to where you want to camp within walk-in camping, which obviously is a little bit tricky. But it does mean that it's less populated, it's quieter, you get amazing views, you're not going to get very much foot traffic like going past your tent all the time. And like I say, you can head down into the city whenever you want to, you can go and get that action when you want it, and kind of be a bit out of it when you don't want to be like in it. Walk-in camping is another nice option, I think, if you have like anxiety or something like that, or if you get quite like overwhelmed, then being able to really be out kind of outside of the city when you need to be can be a really good thing. Of course, if you are joining a theme camp, then they will have placement, so you will not need to go and find your own spot, you are camping with that theme camp. But if you do have particular needs, Kidsville if you have kids, or Hushville if you are looking for a kind of quiet place to camp, then, have a look around. There are theme camps at all sorts of things. And joining up with a theme camp or a village means you are, literally camped with the things that you want to be camped with. And, you are like part of that community, you're part of that theme camp or village. You're like really participating and taking part in everything that they have to offer. So I hope this is helpful, guys. I hope you all end up with amazing spots. I hope you get amazing neighbours and you find exactly what you're looking for and you are nice and close to the things that you love. If any of the rest of you have any tips or advice on, choosing your camping spots and the best little spots out there, then let us know in the comments. And if you see me at Burning Man this year, feel free to come and say hi to me. Bye, guys.